Since I'm holding this mic, I'll start. Well, I know we've got a good mix because we got some hardware, some software. You know, we really primarily take it from the software aspects. We actually kind of sit between our customers on the network providers and the vendors on the hardware providers to sort of do that in-between part of making everything work together, providing the best experience, the best connectivity. You know, we've got several products around connection management, but what we're seeing these days is that connectivity is getting more complex. You know, even though we're getting the higher speeds, the better connections, as somebody on the previous panel said, the other connections don't go away. So we're putting a lot more intelligence into the software in terms of how connections are made, what the right connections are to be made, etc.
So if I give our overview on this user experience aspect, our customers, they do a lot of different products. They manufacture cars, power meter, could be tablets, different connected device or machines, and they do all but wireless. And our daily job is to make their device wireless, connected, in an easy way. So we spend and invest a lot in easing the use of technology. So we have to erase all the complexity from the hardware piece, of course. Integration of the hardware shall be easy. The software aspects through specific API, and the deployment and usage by investing in specific platform.
So from our perspective, what Mavenir Systems does is very simple. We are trying to ensure that the mobile operators are still relevant in the ecosystem as 3G and 4G devices get prevalent. And the problem that we are trying to solve is everyone assumes that once 4G comes in, and even to a certain extent 3G, that services will be delivered over the top by web application providers like Skype and Google's and all these other players. But our premise is that that market is very fragmented, and really, although like Skype does provide certain value, it's not in their best interest to provide a simple user experience that is global in terms of interoperability with other networks, let's say between Yahoo, Skype, MSN, messengers, things like that from messaging perspective or VoIP perspective. So we believe that I think the mobile operators really have an opportunity to provide a better user experience by offering many of these services themselves.
So I think we'll probably talk a lot about the technical challenges. And that's fine. You know, there are many technical challenges, and you know, we've got enough people at the show that we'll all figure out those technical challenges. To me, the biggest challenge is more the processes that are ingrained in our industry in wireless. I always refer to Apple whenever talking about user experience. You know, I'm not sure, man, if you've ever had Apple here at Mobile World Congress and had a chance to talk to them, because they're never here. Yet, they turned our world upside down all by user experience. You know, it's not necessarily cutting edge technology, it's user experience. And it goes back to where do we prioritize, you know, from an industry, our design processes.
But I think you mentioned, Sunil, a little bit earlier, right? I think the biggest challenge is really the fear of the unknown, right? In the mobile industry, everything was highly standards driven, and even from a services perspective, how the mobile phone actually works, the red button, the green button to accept and reject calls was fundamentally defined in standards, and the users pretty much learned a universal experience. The challenge going forward is, you know, nobody knows how the user experience is going to be. Yes, Apple defined certain services today. Skype is defining VoIP. There's a multitude of experiences on how voice messages and video services get delivered.
We like to see more and more focusing on connecting machine because the beauty of community of developers, for instance, they come with a lot of bright ideas you can reuse and save a lot of time in what you do and always improve. And this will help to address a lot of diverse applications again, because again, we connect from cars to ATM and so on, and every time we address a different industry.